Be with you. My I'm Prashant Jain, Managing Director, GE Power India Limited, and in JITO Professional Forum, I'm the JPF Vice Chairman. Welcome everyone to this gathering. I wanted to very quickly share with you about JITO and what is it that excites to me about JITO. JITO is one community platform which is focused towards education, empowerment, and seva. The thing that inspires me about JITO, it's a platform that brings together every member of the family, be it a youth, then it's a JITO Youth Wing, a women member by JITO Ladies Wing. This is 11,000, 21,000 membership. When it's about JITO Business, then you are in business, then it's JITO Business Network, which is a part of JITO member. Then for professionals, either practicing professionals or corporate professionals, it's JITO Professional Forum. And then we have several other programs towards education, empowerment, and seva. In seva, there is this Shravan Arogyam. The thing I like about JITO is it is across all Jain community. And it is one platform which is non-religious, though all members are Jain, but we focus on education, empowerment, and seva in this platform. And this is growing internationally with about 11 international chapters now, the most recent one being launched in Canada. Kuwait, Middle East, Dubai. Then we have 67 chapters, 9 zones in the country. So it's a fairly low, where we normally have every year the Prime Minister addressing us, the Home Minister addressing us, and the Industry Minister and several secretariat listening to us as this platform. So JITO is a quite a powerful platform which is helping or developing the entire Jain community per se. In JITO network, what is JITO Professional Forum? JITO Professional Forum, by which we are doing this program today. This JITO Professional Forum is focused towards practicing professionals and corporate professionals. When we say practicing professionals, it's doctors, lawyers, architects, etc. We are creating a global doctors repository, for example. So on one side, it's practicing professionals, and on the other side, it's corporate professionals. So the aim is to bring them all together and leverage the power of the community and to connect at least 100,000 plus Jain professionals towards the path to success. That's the mission that we are all working towards. So thank you for joining us in this program. And if today's program is Level Up series, there are other programs that we have in JITO like iBox, where we have a very short 18-minute video where one of you can actually give an inspirational speech and others can learn in and follow. It's always available then thereafter on YouTube. We organize many thought leadership forums from industry leaders, professionals around budget, and several activities. The today's program is a part of the JITO corporate network, wherein we have mentorship. It's a flagship program. This program was also awarded in the National JITO Convention in Goa to recognize the impact that this program is creating. JITO mentorship program is connecting aspiring professionals with corporate professionals. And that is the program by which you are all here. And I would stop this very quickly. I just wanted to give you a heads up on where we are, what is the platform, and what is the Level Up series, which is today, and where we have Rajesh ji with us. So Rajesh ji, welcome to the program. I want to very quickly introduce this dynamic personality, always inspiring, always wanting to give back to the society. He is one of the mentors now among the elite global mentors that we have within the JITO Professional Forum. And he has been forthcoming and contributing to the societies a lot. He has participated in the Crossfire event. He has participated in several group mentoring programs. Individually, he has done several mentoring programs. And that is what inspires me about him. And to draw some inspiration from his career and journey, he started his chartered accountancy and career as a consultant. But on the other side, he quickly started his own venture and started implementing what he learned. So then he took on a role as a CFO, and then from CFO, he became the CEO. So this man has pivoted himself on every side as every part of the career, and he's an institution by himself. He is currently the MD, CEO of Lacoste, which is an apparel brand. And he has done humongous amount of contribution to build this brand as a lifestyle brand in apparel and institution. So that is the institution that we are going to see today. So Rajeshji, I'm looking forward to your session. Always fun to engage with you. And thank you for your contribution. Over to you, Sushma ji, to take the proceeding forward.
Thank you so much. And I'm sure we're all looking forward to this wonderful session where you're sharing literally from the CA to a CEO, your life's journey. And there are so many people here who maybe is just starting out. Even in the registration form, we said, I'm beginning to help my father in his business. What can I do? Some people are trying to get into a CA. Some people have already got to a certain level, and then they want to know what are some of the challenges that you're facing. How have you overcome them? How have you continued to apply the principles of Jainism? So many things that we can learn from each other, and we're looking forward to this entire session. However, before we start the session, we'd like to know something about all the people who are attending. So we'd like to know, and it's just a quick thing, and it is of course confidential, just to give Rajesh ji an idea of who the main audience is so that he can tailor make the examples for them. And that is, what is your occupation right now? What age group do you fall in? And which language are you comfortable with? So request everyone to please answer this. It helps us customize the program to the people who are here today. Request all of you all to please answer this poll. It's just simple, quick. Right. About 70% have answered the poll. That's great. It stopped moving right now. So another 5 seconds. Thank you so much for answering. Rajesh ji, here are the results. You can see that majority of them are salaried employees, more than 56%, self-employed, 22%. There are students, 13%, that's about 4 or 5 students, and there are others. In the age group and categories, if we really look at it, majority of them fall in between 26 to 50 range. Less than 25, there are 6 people, and above 50, there are about 5 people. Again, majority of the people are comfortable with both Hindi and English, and some are comfortable with, 22% are comfortable with English, and 6% are comfortable with Hindi. So thank you so much, everybody, for responding. And over to you, Rajesh ji. I don't want to take anybody's time at all. Thank you.
Thank you, Jai Jinendra, to all those who are present in this conference. Sushma ji, can we remove this slide of Paul from the screen, please?
Yes, it's not visible to anyone. Jai
Jinendra, everybody. Thank you, Prashant ji, for such kind words, and thank you, Sushma ji, for such kind words. I would like to straight away start with sharing my screen. So thank you. First of all, I would like to thank JITO and JITO Professional Forum for having me on this platform and share my experiences. Before I begin my slides, my journey and my experiences, I would like to say a couple of sentences about mentorship program. I believe that it's a beautiful program that has been started by JITO and JITO Professional Forum. For the benefit of those who are listening to it, although Sushma ji has already explained what mentorship program is, but I would just like to add a few things here. See, it is said that life is too short to learn everything from your own mistakes. Now, that means that we should continue to learn from others' mistakes also. And I can assure you that the mentors who are there on the mentorship program, they have done significant amount of mistakes in their lives. And I can say it with conviction because I am also one of them. But those mistakes actually give a lot of experience. And not only mistakes, when you have reached a certain age and stage in your life, you get exposure to several things in life where you learn new things. We also have learned a lot from others, from their mistakes, from their success stories. Similarly, most of the mentors, actually all the mentors, they also want to give back to the community. They want to give back to the society so that the others can also benefit partly from their mistakes, their experiences, their success stories, etc. Obviously, the end result, the work has to be done by the mentees themselves. However, this mentorship program becomes a great guidance to all the mentees. I will tell you the power of mentorship program also subsequently, because in our days when I started my career, and when I'm talking about somewhere around 80s and 90s, etc., there were no such mentorship programs. There were no information platforms available. Like today we have Google, we have YouTube, and a lot of other platforms where one can reach out. Similarly, there are some mentorship programs also which guide you in a very structured manner. However, during our time, there were no such mentorship program. There was no information available. But that time also, there are several people who come in your life. They guide you from time to time. And some of these guidance can actually change your entire life. I will also talk about one or two of such incidences that actually changed my life completely. And hence, I feel very close to these mentorship programs because once you have got something from the society, then you want to give back to the society also. It's nothing less than your duty to give back to the society. So with this, I would like to start sharing my experiences during my journey, what happened during the entire life as a corporate employee. But before that, I would just like to start with giving a little background, a contextual background about myself, so everybody understands where I am coming from and what kind of experiences that I carry. And that I think should help most of us. So I started with a humble beginning. I think most of us who were born, let's say in 60s or 70s or even till mid 80s, etc., most of us had this humble beginning. We used to call ourselves coming from middle class income. But honestly speaking, if you look at it from the perspective of today's generation or the millennials or the Gen Z guys, we were actually poor. So poor, I mean, I'm talking about most of the people who were born during that time, who are called baby boomers. Most of us used to wear clothes or garments which run into the family. I used to get my garments which were born by my elder brothers or even cousins. And the best part is we never felt bad about it. It was a part of life. We never felt that we don't have too much of money, etc. The life-wise was good. However, having said that, it was indeed a humble beginning in the beginning when I was born. Now I will talk a little about my initial failures and successes. Why I want to talk about this initial failures and successes, because perhaps some of you or many of you can perhaps relate to those failures and successes also. And I will start with a little early in life, because one starts encountering those failures and successes pretty early in life, even during the student age. So my first failure, and I would like to start with failure because I believe that you learn more from your failures rather than successes. So would like to start with my first failure in my school. I was good at dramatics and debates in the school, and hence I was known in my school and I was sort of famous in the school for these two things. But my first jolt came when I appeared for my 10th board exam. I did not score too well. And that is the moment I was not being given commerce as my chosen subject during my school days. And I realized that life is not hunky-dory. You do face failures in life. Of course, subsequently, when I had to reach out to my principal, spoke to them, gave some tests, etc. And finally, I did get my commerce as my chosen subject, and went on to, when I appeared for my 12th board exam, I was into merit in 12th board. And then I joined BCom honors from Hansraj College, Delhi University. After the college, I would like to touch upon the fact that I stated in the beginning, that how mentorship can help you significantly and can sometimes change your entire career path. After my graduation, I was doing a summer job with the DCM Toyota. It was a summer job for 2 months only. And at that time, as I said, there were no mentorship programs or no information available. So I didn't know what to do after my graduation. During that period of time, I got an interview call. Of course, I applied for it and I got an interview call for a management trainee job from one of a very large organization in India at that time. So I went to my boss during my summer job at that time and asked him for a day's leave. So my boss asked me, and his name was Ajay. I don't remember his full name. Long time back, around 1988. So I asked him for a day's leave, and he asked me the reason. I told him that I've got an opportunity to appear for an interview for a management trainee job, and that perhaps is the highest thing that one can achieve. So he told me at that time, he said, Rajesh, you've been working with me for the last 1.5 months or something. I know how you perform. If you want a management trainee job, I'll give that to you immediately without an interview. However, what he added, and that was the greatest advice I think I ever got in my initial part of my career. He said, Rajesh, don't accept my job. He said, I am a BCom honors like you. Today, around 7 chartered accountants work under me. But I know in the heart of my heart that within 2 to 3 years' time, they will surpass me very fast and they will grow in life. I will not be able to grow as much as they can do. So my recommendation is that if you don't have any economic need to work and contribute monetarily to your home, go for your CA. I didn't know a thing about CA, but the way he guided me, I started looking out for information on CA, and information was very limited at that time. However, I still got it and did my CA. That actually changed my entire outlook and my entire life. That was actually a turning point in my life. And because of CA, after completing my CA, my first job that I got, of course, I kept on doing some jobs here and there, small, a couple of months here and there. But after my CA, my first job I got was with the largest management consulting in India at that time. That's called A.F. Ferguson and Company. Now it has merged with Deloitte. At that time it was called A.F. Ferguson and Company. There also I learned 2 very important things which continued throughout my life and still are continuing with me even today. One is how to get into details. So don't do a job which is not done with a solid, detail-oriented process. And the second is stay ethical in life. Whatsoever might come in your life, but you have to do it through ethical means only. So this was my first job. After that, the entrepreneurial bug bit me. Today we call it startups. At that time, the term startup was not coined. So I started my entrepreneurial journey. I started my own consulting, ran it successfully for about 11 years. And then I joined hands with some like-minded people, and we formed another company called Logic Technologies Private Limited, where we started offering back office operations in accounting. Now, it was too early. It was ahead of its time. The only other competition at that time, I'm talking about early 2000, the only other competition that we had in the country at that time was EY, Ernst & Young. And obviously, they were too big as compared to us. So we did get first mover advantage, and we got a lot of clients. Now, one of those clients happened to be Lacoste in India at that time. And as many of you would know, that on any consulting assignment, one director in charge becomes the head of the department. So I was the head of that assignment for Lacoste India at that time. Things so turned that I ended up joining Lacoste as Chief Financial Officer in September 2005. Now, September 2005, and I got the CEO role in October 2009. So in just about 4 years of entering the industry, because before my getting into the CFO role, I was more of a consultant. I was on the other side of the table. I was not into the thick of it. I did not have to face the challenges that you face in day-to-day working when you are on this side of the table in the industry. So in flat 4 years, I got the leadership role. And that was a turning point for me in my entire corporate journey or career journey, I would say. So with this contextual background, I would like to take this presentation forward, and I would like to talk about my life's principles. So before I begin this, I have tried to categorize that into different stage of everybody's career and different age groups also. However, I see in the poll that most people are from corporate life and some are from business background, some are students. The age group also varies. And while I have tried to categorize my entire presentation into different age groups, etc., but most of these things that I will talk, or the experience that I will share, they are actually applicable across all age groups, and whether you are a student or whether you are in the early stages of your career, or you are a CEO or into a leadership role, or you are doing your own business also. So with this, I would like to start my first basic principle, and which is, I firmly believe in this, that life is actually very simple, but we insist on making it complicated. And I'll tell you that a lot of things that I will talk in my presentation, they actually are rooted in Jainism. The Jainism has some guiding principles which can actually be implemented in your corporate world or in your business beautifully, and they fit in so beautifully that they become your guiding principles also. Similarly, for this particular slide that is currently there on the screen, when I talk about life is actually very, very simple and we insist on making it complicated, it's actually rooted in Jainism. And I'll tell you how. In Jainism, our basic principles, our highest principles, if I ask any Jain, they would say these are Ahimsa and Aparigraha. Of course, Anekantvad also comes into that. Now, Ahimsa, Aparigraha, Anekantvad, they make the life so simple and they teach you how to live your life. If I talk about Ahimsa, to me, Ahimsa means, and I think for most of us, Ahimsa means that you don't do any hinsa, any violence by your words, by your deeds, by your thoughts. Na man se, na vachan se, na kaya se. This is such a beautiful example of such a great guiding principle. I have tried to implement it in my life about this Ahimsa principle, and I'll tell you how. When I say that you will not do violence by your words, by your deeds, and by your thoughts. First of all, words. Now, I will also tell you that I'm not a saint. It's not that I don't get angry. Being in corporate life, one does get angry at times, and so do I. In fact, I am a little short-tempered guy also. However, my entire team, they know it pretty well, and I have ensured that they know it because I keep telling them this time and again that अगर मैं आपको किसी चीज के लिए डांट रहा हूं ना, so that's not, I'm not scolding you. I'm talking about that particular problem in hand, that particular issue in hand. So then it becomes very clear that I'm not doing that ahimsa towards that person. I'm talking about that particular issue in hand. I also do one more thing, that कि अगर मैं किसी को डांटता हूं तो उसके थोड़ी देर के बाद मैं उसे पैट भी कर देता हूं. So people know and they get very close to me because of these things, because they know that I'm not talking about that, I'm talking about that particular problem at hand. Second is by deeds, ahimsa by deeds. So now I doubt whether any Jain can even think in its dream of doing ahimsa by deeds, of doing hinsa by deeds. हम लोग तो चींटी को भी नहीं कभी मारते हैं, उसको भी अगर हो तो हम कोशिश करते हैं कि उसे कम से कम पीड़ा पहुंचाए, उसे साइड कर दें, फूंक मार के या किसी और तरीके से. तो हिंसा बाय डीड्स तो कभी होती ही नहीं है. तीसरा प्रिंसिपल है बाय थॉट्स. Here I would like to say that it took some time, but I think one can train the mind कि अगर कभी थॉट्स में किसी दूसरे के बारे में बुरी भावना आए भी, तो mind can stop you immediately, that you can't think bad about the other person. You can think about bad about the situation, and that situation can go away, but you can't think bad about that other person. And that has actually helped me a lot. That has kept my conscience clean always. I have tried to train my mind in such a manner कि किसी दूसरे के बारे में बुरा ना सोचो इसके अंदर. दूसरा है अपरिग्रह. Aparigraha, although of course if you look into Jainism, that has a very deep meaning कि उसके अंदर हम लोग बहुत ही लिमिटेड कपड़े रखेंगे, बहुत ही लिमिटेड खाना खाएंगे, जिससे कि अगर हम कुछ भी ले रहे हैं तो we are taking it away from some other person. However, as I said, I'm not that great a saint, and corporate life में I think most people are not that saint. बट एक हमने अपना एक प्रिंसिपल बना रखा है जो हमने अपनी एथिकल वैल्यूज के अंदर हमारी कोर फिलॉसफी में भी इंक्लूड किया है, विच इज डू नॉट टेक व्हाट इज नॉट योर्स. सो वी से दैट कि वी डू नॉट टेक व्हाट इज नॉट आवर्स एंड वी डोंट लेट गो ऑफ व्हाट इज जेन्युइनली आवर्स. तो हम किसी का एक पैसा भी नहीं लेंगे अगर वो हमें जेन्युइनली एथिकली हमसे बिलोंग ना करता हो. और साथ साथ हम, क्योंकि वी हैव टू रन द बिजनेस, it's not that we are running a philanthropic organization, so we have to ensure that whatever business we are in, we have to safeguard the interest of that business also. So hence we don't allow others to take away even a penny from our business unless they actually are the true owners of that or the true recipients of that. So this is my life's basic first principle, which is rooted in Jainism. And Anekantvad, of course, one has to keep thinking, one has to keep stepping into other shoes to understand that there could be another scenario, there could be another thought process. And if you look at this problem from their perspective, what is it that they are thinking, whether that is right or what is you are thinking is right. And that's how most corporates are run in any case, क्योंकि उसके बिना तो सिर्फ यही सोचते हैं कि मैं ही सिर्फ सही हूँ. That is not, you can run the businesses anyway. So with this, my next thing, as I said, that I have tried to divide this entire presentation into different segments, and hence this is the first section of my presentation where I say that it starts early, and I'm talking about the age when you get into the serious studies about your graduation and other things. And when I look at how today's world needs, there were times when being a businessman was the most important thing. Being in job was not considered so good. However, in today's time, if we see that people in corporate sector are growing very fast, and hence education is very, very important for growing into the corporate sector. And when I talk about education, I'm not talking about any particular branch of education or any particular type of education. Education for me, it actually does two things. One is, if you're doing any professional education, and whatever field it might be, it could be chartered account, it could be medical, it could be law, it could be architecture, engineer, anything. that education, that professional education gives you deep knowledge of that particular subject if you're doing a professional course. Second, and the most important thing that any education does, that trains your mind to think logically in a structured manner. And that is how, once you go through that education, then whether it is your personal life or your professional life, you're able to understand the problem better. And it is said that the problem well defined is a half solution in itself. So once you have understood the problem, you can come out with a structured answer or a structured solution to that problem also. And hence I say that education is important. My suggestion, my strong recommendation that please, if you are in that age bracket where you are still under education, please give it due importance. If your children are into that age bracket, please do give them or do assist them, help them get more education, better education. However, it doesn't mean that if you are not able to get that professional education, then you can't succeed in your life. And that is where I say the second principle is that channelize your energy. At that age, when you are in, let's say, about 18 to 25 to 30 years of age bracket, you're so full of energy. You don't know how to handle that energy. And because of that, some of us get into the wrong habits. They get into the wrong paths, which are not right for your future career or for the society. So one needs to ensure that you channelize your energy in the right direction. And that's extremely important, whether you have taken education or not taken that professional education. Channelizing energy is extremely important in either case. And the next thing is, remember, you only live once and you have to make the most of it. I have seen typically sometimes we start postponing the thing. This is called procrastination. We think that okay, aaj nahi hai to kal kar lenge, kal nahi hai chalo koi baat nahi, parson kar lenge, agle week kar lenge, next month kar lenge. There is no hurry. There is entire life in front of us. Puri zindagi padi aisi jaldi kya hai? I'm not saying that you should do things in a hurried manner, that you don't pay attention to your details. But what I am saying is that we also need to realize कि हम लोग सिर्फ एक ही बार हमें जिंदगी मिलती है. ये जरूर है कि हम कहते हैं कि भाई दूसरी बर्थ भी होती है, हमारे जैनिज्म के अंदर तो ये माना जाता है कि रीबर्थ होती है. बट लेकिन हम लोगों ने उस लाइफ को देखा भी नहीं है, ना पिछली को ना अगली को. लेकिन साथ साथ हमें जो ये लाइफ मिली है, ये तो एक ही बार मिली है. अगली लाइफ या पिछली लाइफ जो मिली थी वो तो डिफरेंट थी. तो इस लाइफ के अंदर हमारे को उसका पूरा यूटिलाइजेशन करना है, अपनी तरफ से पूरा 100% डिलीवर करना है, जिससे कि हम उसका मैक्सिमम यूटिलाइजेशन कर सकें. ये मेरी लाइफ के कुछ प्रिंसिपल्स हैं, जो एक्सपीरियंसेस हैं, जो मैं शेयर कर रहा हूं. स्टे फोकस्ड. उस लाइफ के अंदर, इस एज के अंदर फोकस रखना बड़ा मुश्किल होता है. हम लोग इधर उधर भागते हैं. जैसे मैंने आपको बताया कि मेरी लाइफ के अंदर भी व्हेन आई स्टार्टेड आफ्टर माय ग्रेजुएशन, आई डिडंट नो व्हाट टू डू. आफ्टर 12th इट वाज वेरी क्लियर. उस समय कोई बहुत ज्यादा ऑप्शंस होते नहीं थे. 12th की है तो ग्रेजुएशन करेंगे, ग्रेजुएशन के अंदर या तो आर्ट्स लेंगे या कॉमर्स या साइंस, और अगर आपने इंजीनियरिंग करनी है, मेडिकल करनी है, देन यू आर अ डिफरेंट एनिमल ऑल टुगेदर. यू डोंट बिलोंग टू द नॉर्मल पीपल. 12th के बाद बड़ा क्लैरिटी होती है. ग्रेजुएशन के बाद बिल्कुल क्लैरिटी नहीं होती है, और हम लोग भी स्टार्ट गेटिंग इनटू डिफरेंट डायरेक्शन. सो एट दिस इज द क्रूशियल स्टेज एंड एज इन योर लाइफ. इस एज के अंदर सबसे पहले आपको ये रियलाइज करना है कि व्हाट इज इट दैट यू एंजॉय डूइंग, और उसके ऊपर फोकस करके फिर उसके अंदर आपको टाइम नहीं लगाना है उस चीज को ऊपर आगे चलने के लिए. इज माय strong recommendation and advice to people who are into that age bracket. एक बहुत ही important चीज in this age, lot of good things and bad things keep coming into life. As I said कि मेरे को 10th के अंदर ही मेरे को अच्छे मार्क्स नहीं आए, तो I couldn't get the desirable course that I wanted at that time. And that is when I realized कि लाइफ में पिटफॉल्स भी आते हैं, पर लेकिन उसके अंदर क्या होता है, हमें एक चीज बहुत ज्यादा ध्यान रखनी है कि nobody is fortune's darling. there will be ups and downs both in life. इसके अंदर हमारा जैनिज्म का एक बहुत ही अच्छा प्रिंसिपल है जो आई रियली लव. इनफैक्ट मैं बहुत ज्यादा रिलीजियस वगैरह तो नहीं कर पाता हूँ कभी भी, लेकिन एक जो मेरी भावना है, मेरी भावना के अंदर एक इतना ब्यूटीफुली पूरी लाइफ को डिस्क्राइब किया गया है कि हमारी भावना कैसी होनी चाहिए. उसका एक पर्टिकुलर स्टैंजा समराइजेस व्हाट आई एम जस्ट टेलिंग अबाउट दिस पर्टिकुलर पॉइंट ऑफ नोबडीज फॉर्च्यून्स डार्लिंग, कि लाइफ में अप्स डाउन्स आएंगे और उसके अंदर हमें कैसे बिहेव करना है. एंड दैट पर्टिकुलर स्टैंजा इन मेरी भावना से कि होकर सुख में मगन न फूले, दुख में कभी न घबरावे, पर्वत नदी शमशान भयानक अटवी से नहीं भय खावे, चाहे कोई कैसा ही भय या लालच देने आवे, तो भी न्याय मार्ग से मेरा कभी न पथ डिगने पावे. इट्स सच अ ब्यूटीफुल थॉट. द एंटायर मेरी भावना इज अ ब्यूटीफुल थॉट. मैं इस पर्टिकुलर स्टैंजा को इस पर्टिकुलर सेंटेंस से इसलिए लिंक कर रहा हूं क्योंकि डिफाइंस कि किस तरह से हमारे को अपने लाइफ के उस किसी भी स्टेज पर अप्स और डाउन्स के अंदर ना तो सुख के अंदर बहुत ज्यादा मगन होना है. वी shouldn't feel that we are doing fantastically well and there will never be any pitfalls in the life. At the same time, when you feel down, you should not actually feel down. You should not feel that this is the end of the world. You should get up and do something about it. And I'll talk a little more about it in my subsequent slides, because this was one of the great life mantras that I learned subsequently when I got onto my later stages of my career, and which is early to mid career. When I talk about early to mid career, I realized, and I'm sharing my experiences with you guys, कि इस स्टेज के अंदर हमारे को अगेन ये समझ नहीं आता है कि हम क्या करें, किस तरह से आगे बढ़ें. इनफैक्ट मेरे को लगता है, जो मेरे कई सारे कलीग्स भी पूछते रहते हैं कि इस स्टेज से आगे बढ़ने के लिए हमें क्या करना है. एंड आई थिंक दिस इज द राइट एज एंड द राइट स्टेज इन वंस लाइफ कि कॉर्पोरेट करियर के अंदर किस तरह से एडवांसमेंट करनी है. दिस इज व्हेन यू एक्चुअली सो दैट सीड ऑफ योर ग्रोथ. एंड द बिगेस्ट पार्ट इज गिव योर 100%. इट इज सेड दैट मोस्ट पीपल गिव ओनली 5 to 10% of their actual ability to the life. The world stands on its feet if you start giving 50%. And the world will stand on its head and start clapping if you give your 100%. I also learned this lesson, as Prashant ji explained that, and I also told in the contextual background कि मैंने अपना career जब शुरुआत किया तो I went into my consulting, and it was a reasonably successful consulting which I ran for over a decade. But उस समय I started getting complacent. I realized कि मैं पूरे month में, even if I work for 3 to 5 days or maximum a week, I get decent amount of money. I don't have to work more. I started thinking that there will be some time in my life where I will start giving 100%. तो मैंने 5 दिन से 7 दिन से ज्यादा कभी काम करना ही बंद कर दिया था उस पीरियड के अंदर. And that was, I think, one of my biggest mistakes at that time. I'm not saying that I regret it, because I don't regret the past. But at the same time, when I got into my job as CFO, one of the biggest advantage of me advancing from the CFO role to CEO is this. This is the time when I started giving 100%. I did not hold back anything, or at least any of those abilities which were known to me. I started putting in so much of hard work, so much of my application of whatever IQ I have, and that actually changed my entire career, and that paved the path for my future career progression. So my strong recommendation is that please give your 100% as early as possible. Don't hold back. Don't think that there will be a time when you will start giving 100%. The second extremely important thing which we ensure that we implement at least in our organization. Most people in this phase of their career, of early to mid career, they think only and only about vertical growth. कि आज अगर मैं finance manager हूँ, I'm taking about the example of finance क्योंकि I belong to that field, but it's applicable on across all the fields, all the streams. तो ये लगता है कि अगर मैं फाइनेंस मैनेजर हूं तो मैं कैसे सीनियर मैनेजर बनूं, फिर कैसे मैं जीएम बनूं, फिर कैसे मैं सीएफओ बनूं. These two things, giving 100% and expanding horizon, they really helped me significantly. When I became the CFO, I did not restrict myself to the CFO role. The natural role for a CFO is to handle finance. But within 6 months to 1.5 years, I started adding a lot of other departments to my kitty. And once you start performing in your department and you show that you want to perform beyond your department, and you also show your capability and intention to go beyond your natural stream, there are a lot of people sitting above you. They want to help you out. Within a period of 1.5 years, I was heading the entire backend of the company, which included finance, legal, IT, HR, except recruitment part. I was heading the entire HR also. And then I started getting into some part of the front end also. In retail, there are clearly demarcated sections of front end and back end. Back end means support services, and front end means those services which really need to interact with your customers or enable customer delight. So I started getting into the front end also. I started getting into the business, getting into, when I say without intruding upon others' territory, I started learning and understanding what happens in the business as a whole and not only in the finance sector of this. These two things, as I said, I'm just repeating that, giving 100% and expanding horizon, not only looking at vertical growth, but also expanding horizontally, looking into the other fields. That really shaped up my future career from here onwards. Of course, this is a natural principle that everybody knows, that one shouldn't be arrogant when you become successful. I wouldn't dwell too much upon this particular part. This last part that has just appeared on the screen, this helped me significantly. In fact, this is the mantra of my life, which started from my mid-career. And when I say mid-career, I talk about when I was a CFO. I learned this mantra, and this mantra continues to help me even today. There will be serious amount of challenges in the life. There will be several moments when you just want to sit back in the corner and start taking pity on yourself. You start thinking, ये मेरे साथ ही क्यों होना था? मैं क्या कर सकता हूँ इस चीज का? This is called sulking. Have you ever thought? Actually, I learned it the hard way. When my boss gave me this mantra, I started thinking about it कि yes, मेरे उस कोने में बैठ के सोचने से किया कि ये मेरे साथ लाइफ में मेरे साथ ही ऐसा क्यों होना था, या फिर मैं इस सिचुएशन के अंदर क्या करूं. I learned that sulking, वो कोने में बैठ के अपने ऊपर पिटी करने से, अपने ऊपर दया करने से, it will not help. First of all, I need to own up this. I need to own the responsibility of what is happening. It's not कि किसी ने बाहर से मेरे ऊपर कुछ चीज इन्फ्लिक्ट कर दी है और मैं उसके बारे में रोता रहूं. बाहर से भी आई है, एक्सटर्नल फैक्टर्स से आई है, just fine. I have to own up that. Nobody said the world is fair. World will remain unfair, and that is how the world needs to run also. In fact, I don't think that world not being fair is actually unfair. I think it's fair. World should not be fair. Otherwise, सब लोग similar होंगे, सब लोग same काम करते रहेंगे, सब लोग similar level पे होंगे. There will be no intention or aspiration left for growth in anybody. The world needs to be unfair. And during that world not being fair, if something is inflicted upon us, the most important thing is that how you react to this. And this is where my mantra, at least in life, that sulking never helps, came in pretty handy, and it continues to keep on handy. कि sulk करने की जगह सबसे पहले तो उसको own करना है. And own करने का मतलब सिर्फ ये नहीं है कि I'm sorry about this. I say कि sorry, मेरे से ये गलती हो गई या फिर ये होना. But I have to find opportunities into that. I have to find how to improve that situation. And I, just to tell you about this particular part, my daughter is 25. She is just completing her management studies. I keep telling her this thing, these two things: sulking never helps, and for your nobody's fortune's darling. I think that helps her also significantly, because life में ऊपर नीचे मौके तो आएंगे ही आएंगे. उसके अंदर अगर आप sulk करते रहोगे तो you'll never be able to do good work. So this one mantra I really wanted to share on this platform. I hope that it might help some other listeners also, because it helped me significantly for sure. Now, this is one thing that becomes elusive when you have reached the top. You need a mantra to remain focused. And I'm not talking about life's mantra. Of course, even the mighty saints couldn't define life in one mantra. I'm talking about the mantra to remain focused in the business, in your corporate life, especially when you are into the leadership role, when you have to lead others, then you have to remain focused. You can't keep on doing different things and without knowing the objective of it. So I have defined and designed my own mantra for this focus vision, to stay focused on how to handle the business. And for me, there are 5 pillars to this mantra. One is, and in my last 3 decades of my career, I am yet to come across any business where these 5 pillars do not define the entire business, which is top line sales, bottom line growth/expansion, human resource development, and customer delight. For me, everything else is merely incidental. I would like to spend about 10 minutes on this slide to define each and every pillar that I have just noted down here. So I'll start with the top line. Top line sales, revenues, whether you're in your own business or you're in corporate life, whether you are selling goods, some products, or whether you're selling services. Everybody needs all these 5 pillars. Top line, no organization can survive without the top line. But are we talking about top line at any cost? No, certainly not. Top line, if you do it once or twice and then you come down, it will be considered a fluke. It will be considered that by chance you have done it, you were lucky. So you have to ensure that the top line has to be sustainable top line. And how to get that sustainable top line? I have my own defining parameters for getting the right kind of sustainable top line. And there are 2 parameters that I have defined for those, which are product, great quality product, and innovation. When I talk about the great quality product, whether you are dealing in luxury products, whether you're dealing in premium products, whether you're dealing in value products, you have to, and services also, of course, you have to ensure that whatever segment you are into, your product's quality has to be in sync with that positioning. It has to be a great quality product, syncing with that particular segment. So I'm certainly not suggesting that if you're selling a value product, a low cost product, and you start trying to aspire for giving a luxury quality. But even if you're into value product, you have to give a quality that is acceptable to your customers at that price point, at that space. The second is innovation. Innovation is extremely important. Even the most interesting things in life will become extremely boring if you keep on repeating the same thing, whether it is your personal life or it is your professional life, or whether it is what you offer to your customers. So innovative products are extremely important. You have to keep on changing the look and feel of the product, or you come out with new types of products. This is an extremely important thing, that you bring up innovation into your products, and that's for the top line. The second point is bottom line. And when I'm talking about bottom line, please don't jump to conclusions. I'm not talking about only the profitability here. I'm also talking about cash flows. There is a saying that top line is vanity, bottom line is sanity, but cash flow is reality. Cash flow is the most important thing. During the past 2 years, when we all went through the COVID, barring a few industries, we saw that cash flow was extremely important for most of the businesses. None of us was talking about the profitability at that time, barring a few industries, of course. But everybody was talking about how to sustain this period, how to ensure that you don't fall short of cash flows. So cash flows, apart from profitability, are most important parameters for any business. For any decision that we take which involves cash flows, and unfortunately or fortunately, every business decision that you take that involves involves cash flows. So every decision needs to be taken very, very carefully. I have my own parameter of deciding on investing cash flows in any line or any business. And because I am a professional, the company I work for, I don't own that. So I have defined my own parameter to take the decision of investing cash flows or not invest cash flows. So what I see is that whenever a decision comes up, I see that if I were to invest or spend this particular amount of money for this decision, and if this decision were to be taken in my individual capacity for my personal use, and the money, of course, is in short supply or a limited supply, whether I would invest that money there at that time or no. And if the answer is yes, then I get the answer and I invest that money. And obviously, being from a financial background, it helps to understand the impact on the profit and loss and the balance sheet for that particular decision. But this is how I handle the bottom line. Growth or expansion is the third parameter or the third pillar. Growth, as we all know, is extremely important for any organization. Stagnant water starts stinking after some time. So we need to grow. It is said that even if you're on the right track, you will get run over very fast if you just sit there. So you have to keep moving, and you have to keep moving forward. Movement does not necessarily mean forward movement. So we have to keep moving forward. This is an important, extremely important area for any business. And when I talk about expansion or growth, am I talking about expansion in an unorganized manner? There are several companies who grow overnight. They don't know what to do with that growth, and it falls back. The entire building comes down crashing very fast, and we've seen it in several cases within India also and globally also. So when I'm talking about growth or expansion, I'm talking about planned expansion in a process-driven manner. So my mantra for this particular part is that go for expansion and growth, but go in a planned manner. Another important aspect for expansion and growth is that we feel a lot of pressure of growing erratically or very fast. My recommendation is that don't buckle under that pressure. Take one step at a time. If you want to, let's say if you're driving a hatchback and you want to get into a luxury car someday, you can't immediately jump from a hatchback to a luxury car. First of all, you have to aspire to graduate from that hatchback to a sedan and then aspire towards that luxury. You don't do it immediately. If you try to do it, then you will fall flat. So don't get pressurized by talking about big things only and not implement those. So take those small steps, plan for those, draw a process for that. But once you have planned for this and when you have drawn a process, then don't wait. Then please implement that plan with a lightning speed. You can't keep on just thinking about big plans. You have to implement those. So this is an important area which I wanted to touch upon. The next part is human resource development. Extremely important point. We know that the businesses can get great manpower and turn that business into a great business very fast. And on the contrary, if you have a demotivated human resource, the businesses cannot run. So the pillar is the development of that human resource. And when I talk about development, I would say that just boosting employees' morale by giving them motivational lectures is not sufficient. We need to ensure that the employee or the colleague gets the growth opportunities to become future leaders. And that growth opportunity can come in several ways. One is we need to train those colleagues. We need to motivate them, of course, through the moral or the motivational speeches also, but at the same time, leading by examples also. Money is one of the greatest motivator also. A lot of us think that money is a bad word. Why do we keep about money? Why do we keep talking about money? But money indeed is a great motivator for the colleagues in the corporate sector. So we have to motivate them at the right time, at the right place. And when I say about at the right time, because different people could be at different stages of Maslow's theory. I am assuming that most of us know or have read about Maslow's hierarchy. So that talks about that the man, so the Maslow was a guy who has given a hierarchy of people's need at different stages in life. So it says that you start with the basic needs. Everybody, first of all, aspires for basic needs like food, shelter, and clothing. Then the next stage comes when you need social affiliation, sexual gratification, etc., etc. And then you start graduating. And the last stage, as per Maslow, is self-realization or self-actualization. Now, when we talk about motivating the human resource, you want to motivate somebody, but that person may not be ready for that growth. That person may not be committed to himself or to the organization. So first of all, we need to identify the commitment of that person or that colleague to the organization and to himself or herself. And then we have to train that person or guide that person to grow in the hierarchy. And that's when you get the motivated human resource. The fifth pillar is the most important pillar for any business. And in fact, that actually I call it the goal, the objective. If you have the right kind of product, you keep on doing the innovation from time to time, you have the right pricing so that you get the cash flows also and you get the profitability also. You are expanding also, you are visible to the customer also. You are very, very motivated employee strength or the colleagues who work with you, or you yourself are very, very motivated. But if you're not able to deliver that customer delight, all other pillars will fail miserably. They will be of no use. So one needs to ensure to provide that customer delight. And when we talk about customer delight, especially in retail and in other businesses also, how do you give that customer delight? Now, this is a very elusive thing, that how do you provide that customer delight? There are a lot of companies these days, especially in the last 5-6 years, when we all have started getting attracted towards discounts. I'm talking about the consumer products mainly. But the discounting, etc., can be tactics, short-term tactics. These are not strategies. Those will not bring the customer back to you again and again. If you remove those discounts, the customer will stop coming to your coming to buy your product. So the strategy, in my view, is to provide a great customer experience, a great customer service, whether during the sale or after sale also. And again, I'm talking about, although it is it sounds more like a retail thing, but I think most of the businesses, the aim, the objective is bringing that customer delight. So this is how I summarize these 5 pillars who help me remain focused towards the business. Now, what is our core philosophy? So we have our mission, vision, and core philosophy of the company. And we ensure that any new joinee who joins our company, we run that person through our core philosophy and mission and vision, etc., so that we are aligned. And why I am showing this here, because some of these core philosophy principles, they align with the Jainism principles also, and they deliver beautifully in the corporate sector. So there's a lot of conflicts. Whenever we are into a corporate environment, and I'm limiting it to the corporate environment only here, we are in conflict. A lot of times we feel that there is a situation where I should position my interest on the top, or my colleagues' interest, or the organization. We are absolutely crystal clear about this, and my colleagues are also crystal clear about this. We say that if there is any conflict, the order that has to be strictly followed is this. First priority is organization. If the decision has to be taken where organization is benefiting, but I might end up losing something, or my colleague might end up losing something, the decision is clear that the organization has to be put on the top. And the reason is very clear. We are convinced, I personally believe, that organization is like your mother. जिस तरह से माँ अपने बच्चे का इंश्योर करती है कि उसको खाना खिलाए, उसकी सारी चीजों की देखभाल करे, उसको उसकी हर नीड्स को पूरा करने की कोशिश करती है माँ, उसी तरह से हमारी ये बिलीफ है, मेरी पर्सनली ये बिलीफ है कि ऑर्गेनाइजेशन जिस जगह पे आप काम करते हो, जहाँ से आप सैलरी लेते हो, या फिर अगर बिजनेस में हो तो वहां से अपना प्रॉफिट लेते हो, वो एक माँ की तरह से आपका पालन पोषण करती है. तो वी हैव टू एंश्योर कि जब भी कोई कॉन्फ्लिक्ट आए, अगर हमारी पर्सनल लाइफ में कोई कॉन्फ्लिक्ट आता है तो हम ये एंश्योर करते हैं कि हमारी माँ सबसे टॉप पे रहेगी. उसी तरह से ऑर्गेनाइजेशन एक टॉप पे रहती है. दूसरा है प्रायोरिटी कि कलीग्स और स्टेक होल्डर्स. हम लोगों को इतना लालची नहीं हो जाना चाहिए कि हम अपने बारे में ही सोचें. ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के बाद कलीग्स का और स्टेक होल्डर्स का अगर आप ध्यान रखेंगे, अपना ध्यान, मैंने ये एक्चुअली ये रियलाइज किया है, ये नोटिस किया है कि अगर आप पहली दो प्रायोरिटीज को फुलफिल कर लें, तीसरी जो प्रायोरिटी अपने आप फुलफिल हो जाती है. अगर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन की ग्रोथ हो रही है, कलीग्स आपके खुश हैं, मोटिवेटेड हैं, दूसरे स्टेक होल्डर्स जो हैं, शेयर होल्डर्स, डायरेक्टर्स, दे आर हैप्पी, आपकी ग्रोथ अपने आप होती है. तो उसके बारे में सोचना भी नहीं पड़ता है. तो ये एक बेसिक कोर फिलॉसफी हम लोगों ने अपनी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के अंदर की है. सिमिलरली जब मैं वैल्यूज की बात कर रहा हूं, जो मैं अभी बता रहा था कि इसमें से कई सारी वैल्यूज हमारी जैनिज्म प्रिंसिपल से भी अलाइंड हैं. स्पेशली जो पहली दो हैं, जो मैंने इनमें से सेकंड के बारे में तो मैंने अभी कहा था. पहली है इंटेग्रिटी एंड अनकॉम्प्रोमाइजिंग एथिकल वैल्यूज. एथिक्स के ऊपर कहीं कोई कॉम्प्रोमाइज नहीं होना चाहिए. नॉट टेकिंग व्हाट इज नॉट आवर्स एंड नॉट लेटिंग गो ऑफ व्हाट इज आवर्स, जो मैंने अभी बताया था, जिसके अंदर अपरिग्रह की जब मैं बात कर रहा था कि दिस इज द प्रिंसिपल दैट इज इनकलकेटेड इन अस लाइक आवर कोर वैल्यूज, कि जो चीज आपकी नहीं है उसे नहीं लेना है. और जो, क्योंकि आप एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के लिए काम कर रहे हैं और वो एक फॉर प्रॉफिट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है, तो इसलिए ये भी नहीं है. इवन नॉन प्रॉफिट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन ऑल्सो नीड टू एंश्योर कि बिजनेस चलता रहे. तो नॉट लेटिंग गो ऑफ व्हाट इज नॉट आवर. फ्रीडम ऑफ एक्सप्रेशन बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, लेकिन हम ये इंश्योर करते हैं कि हमारी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के अंदर कोई पॉलिटिक्स ना हो और कोई रेबेलियस एटीट्यूड ना हो, लेकिन फ्रीडम ऑफ एक्सप्रेशन फुल है. किसी को भी अगर कोई मेरे डिसीजन से या मेरी थॉट प्रोसेस से अलाइंड है, ही और शी हैज एवरी राइट to come and counter that in a nicer manner, and we talk logically. Commitment, passion, and collaboration. No need to elaborate further on that, I guess. Similar the case with process orientation instead of transactional approach. Transactions हैं, but transactions सिर्फ एक example की तरह है. उससे कोई process set नहीं होता. ये हमारा core values में आता है. Last point, which is always challenging the status quo to move forward in a positive manner. In fact, that has helped me significantly when I became CEO, when I got the leadership role. There were several challenges. Biggest challenge was that most of us get into the rut of thinking that this is how the things can be done. there is only one particular method of doing the things. मैं क्योंकि फ्रंट एंड का नहीं था, आई मीन रिटेल के अंदर फ्रंट एंड एज आई सेड की इज डिफरेंट, मैं बैक एंड से ज्यादा बिलोंग करता था, तो मेरे को शुरू में फ्रंट एंड समझ नहीं आता था. मेरे को समझ नहीं आता था कि कस्टमर्स के साथ किस तरह से क्या चीजें चेंज करें हम फ्रंट एंड के अंदर जिससे कि ऑर्गेनाइजेशन ग्रो हो. तो इट गेव मी, I mean, some would say that it was a huge limitation or a drawback, but I think this was a great asset for me. I didn't know a thing about the front end, and I saw that this is a great opportunity. I started challenging status quo. अगर कोई मुझसे आके कहता था कि ये तो इसी तरह से काम चल रहा है कई सालों से, तो I used to ask them because I could think out of box. If you are working inside the box, आपको लगता ही नहीं कि कोई दूसरा तरीका भी काम करने का हो सकता है. When I did not know anything, I could start thinking in outside the box. तो मैं उनसे पूछा था क्यों नहीं हो सकता, इसको अगर इस तरह से देखेंगे तो क्यों नहीं हो सकता. सिमिलरली मैंने अपने आप को, क्योंकि मेरे को रिटेलर की तरह काम करना ज्यादा नहीं आता था, लेकिन मैं एक कस्टमर तो था, हम सब कस्टमर हैं, तो आई स्टार्टेड पुटिंग माई सेल्फ इनटू कस्टमर शूज. एंड आई रियलाइज कि मेरे को इतनी महंगी शर्ट अगर खरीदनी है एज अ कस्टमर, और मैं किसी शोरूम में जाऊं, और मैं उस समय हमारी पोलो या शर्ट करीब 2-2,500 रुपए की आती थी, मैं 2010 के आसपास की बात, 2009-2010 की बात कर रहा हूं. तो क्या मैं इतनी महंगी जब शर्ट खरीद रहा हूं, तो मुझे क्या क्या चीजें एक्सेप्टेबल हैं उस दुकान के अंदर या उस शोरूम के अंदर, क्या क्या चीजें नहीं एक्सेप्टेबल है. तो आई रियलाइज किया कि मेरे को ये बिल्कुल एक्सेप्टेबल नहीं है कि 2,000 रुपए की एक मैं शर्ट खरीदूं और दुकान के अंदर डस्ट पड़ी हो कहीं, या फिर उसका फर्नीचर चिप्ड हो. तो आई स्टार्टेड टॉकिंग टू माय कलीग्स देयर, एंड इट वर्क्ड सो वंडरफुली. स्टेटस को हमने अपनी प्रोडक्शन फैसिलिटीज को काफी स्प्रूस अप किया. हम लोग सोचते थे कि हम सिर्फ एक ही तरीके से काम कर सकते हैं, उसको मैंने स्टेटस को जब चैलेंज किया, उससे बहुत अमेजिंग रिजल्ट सामने आए. Within 3 years, we doubled our turnover. And within 4 years, we doubled our number of point of sales of our stores. And we did not take even 1 penny of equity share capital from our shareholders for that particular expansion or growth. This was only because we started challenging status quo and everything. And as a team, we really worked towards this with one objective, with focused approach. So these are the core values which we still continue to believe in. We continue to challenge the status quo, and that's how I think our growth, our respect in the market is getting established more every day. This is the next slide. This is where I would say that I have seen it in my life with the colleagues or even me. When we achieve the age of 50, many of us start thinking कि यार we have seen it all, been there, done that. अब 50 साल की एज हो गई है, अब इसके बाद क्या करना है हमने, अब तो सब चीजें देख भी ली हैं जिस तरह से काम होता है. Secondly, the biggest problem that I have seen in myself and in my colleagues also who are beyond 50, कि हमारी एक सीडेंटरी लाइफस्टाइल जो होती है ना, जो हम कॉर्पोरेट सेक्टर में स्पेशली होते हैं, हम लोगों को मोस्टली सारे दिन बैठा होना होता है. हम कार में जाते हैं एयर कंडीशन एनवायरनमेंट में, ऑफिस के अंदर जाके एयर कंडीशन एनवायरनमेंट में हैं, जहां भी जाएं आजकल बहुत ही सीडेंटरी लाइफस्टाइल की तरह काम करते. कोई एक्टिव लाइफस्टाइल होता नहीं, कोई फिजिकल मेहनत नहीं होती है. तो बाय द टाइम वी रीच 50, फिजिकली वी आर मोस्टली वॉर्न आउट. हमें लगता है अब तो कुछ हो ही नहीं सकता है, और तब हम लोग वेट करने लगते हैं कि हम कब रिटायर होंगे. In fact, this happened with me also, unfortunately. I am 55 now. Around 53-54 years of age, I also started thinking कि यार कि अब तो sedentary lifestyle के कारण again, कि यार कि अब तो health जो है जितना permit करे retirement तक के लिए किस तरह से काम करते हैं, और उसके बाद देखा जाएगा. But लेकिन I came across a beautiful thing, a beautiful guidance at that time. And I say that we need to rejuvenate ourselves at the age of 50. इसका एक, और मैं बहुत ज्यादा कन्विंस हो गया इस पे इमीडिएटली, क्योंकि ये भी एक डीप रूटेड है जैनिज्म के अंदर, जो मैं भी प्रिंसिपल बताने वाला हूं आपको कि किस तरह से मैंने अपने आप को रिजुविनेट किया. rejuvenation, and I started, I mean, obviously, जब मेरे को ऐसा फील होने लगा, I did not accept it. I said कि no, this is not acceptable. I have to do something about it. And we all know that a healthy mind resides in a healthy body. So I realized that first of all, मेरे को अपनी physical well-being की तरफ ज्यादा देखना है, अपनी physical health की तरफ ज्यादा देखना है. So I started exploring how to rejuvenate myself. First of all, physically, and then obviously the mental energy will immediately come back. I came across a beautiful concept. हमारी जैनिज्म के अंदर, एक्चुअली बहुत सारे रिलीजन्स के अंदर, स्पेशली जैनिज्म के अंदर, उपवास का, फास्टिंग का एक बहुत ही ज्यादा महत्व है, बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंस है फॉर फास्टिंग, फॉर उपवास. जैनिज्म में कुछ ज्यादा ही है, और जैनिज्म के मोस्टली प्रिंसिपल्स, टू द एक्सटेंट आई नो, दे आर समवेयर लिंक्ड टू साइंस. ये जरूर है कि हमारे को जिस तरह से बताया गया है वो जरूरी नहीं है कि सारे प्रिंसिपल साइंस से लिंक करके बताए गए हों, लेकिन जब आप डीप में जाते हैं कि उसके बारे में सोचते हैं तो यू रियलाइज कि मोस्ट ऑफ दीज प्रिंसिपल आर लिंक्ड टू साइंस, हाउ टू लिव योर लाइफ ब्यूटिफुली. इसी तरह से उपवास का जो हमें बताया गया है वो काफी रिलीजन से जोड़कर बताया गया है, और हम लोग करते भी बहुत हैं. जैन्स तो 36 आवर्स का फास्ट तो मिनिमम होता ही होता है कि हाँ भाई सूरज डूबने से पहले दिन शुरू करते हैं, और अगले से अगले दिन जब सूरज उगता है तब हम लोग पानी लेते हैं. और इसके अलावा अठाई होती हैं, दूसरी चीजें होती हैं जो उपवास का बहुत ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंस बताया गया है जैनिज्म में. लेकिन इसे कभी हम लोगों की नॉलेज के अंदर, एटलीस्ट मेरी नॉलेज के अंदर, कभी साइंस से लिंक नहीं किया गया. तो हम लोगों को उसका साइंटिफिक बेनिफिट इतना नहीं पता था. कुछ अंदाजा था कि हाँ भाई ये साइंस कैसे कहीं लिंक है, इससे बॉडी अच्छी रहती है. 2016 में देयर वाज अ जापानीज साइंटिस्ट, हिज नेम इज योशिनोरी ओशुमी. उनको एक नोबेल प्राइज मिला जिससे उन्होंने ये बताया कि इफ यू डू फास्टिंग there is something called autophagy that gets into play. उस autophagy से क्या होता है कि आपके जो सेल्स हैं, जो बॉडी के सेल्स हैं, वो रीजनरेट होने शुरू हो जाते हैं, और विद इन अ शॉर्ट पीरियड ऑफ टाइम all your diseases start getting reversed, especially lifestyle diseases. और ये फास्टिंग जो आज पूरे वर्ल्ड में बहुत ज्यादा वोग में है, which is intermittent fasting. I wanted to share it because if something good happens to you, then you want to share it with your like-minded people, with people whom you love, with whom you appreciate, and that's the reason I am sharing it here, because I believe a lot of corporate people, they need this beyond 50 because of the sedentary lifestyle we all are living in. Of course, it's not only for beyond 50 people. People can start it as early as 18 years of age also. In fact, my daughter and my wife, they also saw visible differences in me, and they started it. A lot of other people I interact with, they also got inspired by this intermittent fasting, and they really got rejuvenated it. So what I do is my last meal of the day ends at 3 p.m. and then I take my next meal at 7 a.m. in the morning. So there is a gap of 16 hours. During this period of time, I can only take water. It has helped me immensely. When I started it about a year ago, I had started getting into the diabetes. My blood pressure used to remain high because of the stress and the lifestyle that most of corporate employees or corporate executives live. My blood pressure was always high. I had started getting into the diabetes, as said. मेरा uric acid ऊपर चला गया था. I had started getting some thyroid problems also, and a few other problems also. Of course, I used to feel very stressed, run down, non-energetic. But within a period of 3 months of starting this intermittent fasting, the principle is कि पहले कोई भी चीज हम खाते हैं, if it is above 10 calories, body या तो digest कर सकती है या अपने आप को heal कर सकती है. पहले 12 घंटे बॉडी उसको डाइजेस्ट करने में लगाती है, और अगर 12 घंटे के अंदर हमने फिर दोबारा खा लिया तो अगले 12 घंटे और लगेंगे. तो ये जो 16 घंटे की इंटरमिटेंट फास्टिंग है, पहले 12 घंटे के अंदर बॉडी ने डाइजेस्ट कर लिया, जो मेरा 16 आवर्स का गैप होता है, तो अगले 4 घंटे के अंदर बॉडी अपने आप को हील करना शुरू कर देती है। विद इन अ पीरियड ऑफ 3 months माई डायबिटीज रिवर्स्ड, माई ब्लड प्रेशर मच बिफोर दैट, विद इन अ पीरियड ऑफ 10 to 15 days my blood pressure became normal, my uric acid became normal, my thyroid came back to normal. I feel so energetic that I feel internally that I have added at least 10 years to my working life. And this is an amazing result giving concept. I would strongly recommend कि intermittent fasting और fasting ये दोनों चीजें बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट हैं लाइफस्टाइल डिजीज को रिमूव करने के लिए, अपने आप को रिजुविनेट करने के लिए. यू गेट अ न्यू बाउट ऑफ एनर्जी विद दिस. काइंडली गो विद दिस and please do research on this on Google and on YouTube. You will get a lot of articles globally. This is the thing for most of the celebrities and corporate executives across the world on this. And once you rejuvenate, then you have to reinvent, which is what I am doing, and I'm sharing my experience, and that's why I'm talking about myself. Reinventing yourself, your thought process that I've been there, done that, all those things, you have to keep it aside. Reinvent yourself. You get a new bout of energy. Beyond 50 actually means that now when you're well settled in life, you're worried, but you're not so worried about the other things in life, about your family, about your monetary situation, etc. You're reasonably settled. Please reinvent yourself. Think about new things. Don't think that this is the only way of working in which you've been working for the past 20 years or 30 years. Please reinvent yourself. It will bring so much of energy that you feel that you're young again. And I said that I feel that I have at least in just 1 year, I've been doing this intermittent fasting for the last 1 year. That gave me the strength and the courage to reinvent myself. And I think I have added at least 10 years to my life. I'm talking about working life, which full of energy. Last slide, God. I think most of us, we feel that if we have some problem, then we need to reach out to the God. We have to please the God. We have to pray to Him. I have completely different views on that. And in fact, again, this particular principle, it is so deep rooted into me from the beginning because of the sanskar that your family gives. उसके कारण जो गॉड है उसकी डेफिनेशन जैनिज्म में जो दी गई है उससे ज्यादा ब्यूटीफुल कॉन्सेप्ट मेरे ख्याल से शायद ही कहीं पर हो. हमारे यहाँ गॉड नहीं है. I mean, जो मेरी लिमिटेड अंडरस्टैंडिंग है, हमारे यहाँ गॉड की कॉन्सेप्ट ही नहीं है. जैनिज्म के अंदर नेचर सब चीज है और हमारे यहाँ तीर्थंकर होते हैं. तीर्थंकर के अंदर भी हमारी ये बिलीफ है, हमारे को लगता है कि भाई तीर्थंकर जो हैं वो मोक्ष चले गए हैं. वो डूअर नहीं है, वो करता नहीं है, वो करेंगे नहीं कुछ, ना आपका अच्छा कर सकते ना आपका बुरा कर सकते. ऐसा नहीं है कि आप उनकी पूजा करो या उनको कुछ चढ़ाओ तो वो लोग खुश होंगे और आपको खुश होकर कुछ दे देंगे, या आप उनकी पूजा नहीं करोगे तो वो लोग बुरा मान जाएंगे और आपका कुछ बुरा कर देंगे. ऐसा बिल्कुल भी नहीं है हमारे जैनिज्म के कॉन्सेप्ट में. हमें तो कहते हैं वो डूअर ही नहीं है. आपने जो करना है आपका कर्म है. आप उस कर्म से डेस्टिनी बनाते हो और फिर डेस्टिनी के अंदर जब नई बर्थ लेते हो या अपनी करंट बर्थ के अंदर आपको कर्म ऐसे करने हैं कि आपकी डेस्टिनी अच्छी होती चली जाए और किसी दिन आप भी निर्वाणा अटेन कर सकते हो. कितना ब्यूटीफुल कॉन्सेप्ट है कि आप एक ऐसी शक्ति को या एक ऐसी पावर को प्रे करते हो जिससे आपको कुछ मांगना नहीं है. आप तीर्थंकर से कुछ मांगते नहीं हो क्योंकि वो तो कुछ दे ही नहीं सकते. इतनी ब्यूटीफुल कॉन्सेप्ट जो शुरू से मेरी फैमिली में मेरे पेरेंट्स ने मुझे समझाया, मेरे को इससे ब्यूटीफुल कॉन्सेप्ट नहीं लगती. क्योंकि अगर आप किसी को प्रे करते हो और उससे कुछ मिलता है और प्रे नहीं करते हो तो आपको डर लगता है कि यार कि आपको गलत हो जाएगा. तो व्हाट इज सो गॉड लाइक इन टू दैट? वो तो हम जो मॉर्टल्स हैं, हम जो ह्यूमंस हैं या एनिमल्स हैं, वो भी यही करते हैं कि अगर कोई मेरे को प्रेज करेगा तो मैं खुश हो जाऊंगा, उसके साथ कुछ अच्छा करूंगा. अगर कोई मेरे से झगड़ा करेगा तो मैं नाराज हो जाऊंगा. देयर इज नथिंग गॉड लाइक इन टू दैट. जैनिज्म में इतनी ब्यूटीफुल कॉन्सेप्ट है कि गॉड तो कोई तीर्थंकर जो है हमारे, वो तो कुछ कर ही नहीं सकते आपका, ना अच्छा ना बुरा। आप उनकी प्रे करो जिससे कि आप उनके पाथ को अडॉप्ट करो, आप उनकी लर्निंग्स अंडरस्टैंड करो, आप वो अच्छे कर्मा करो जिससे कि आपकी डेस्टिनी भी अच्छी होती जाए। मैं ये नहीं कह रहा कि गॉड को प्रे करने से या हमारे भगवान को या हमारे तीर्थंकर को जब हम प्रे करते हैं तो उससे कुछ मटेरियल चीजें लाइफ में नहीं मिलती, ऐसा भी नहीं है। जो मेरे को कॉन्सेप्ट समझ में आई है बहुत ही लिमिटेड मैनर में, कि जब हम अपने तीर्थंकर की पूजा करते हैं, और क्योंकि बाकी देवता भी हमारे तीर्थंकर की पूजा करते हैं, तो वो देवता बड़े खुश होते हैं और वो हमें देते हैं। अब ये मेरे को पता नहीं कि सही कॉन्सेप्ट है या नहीं है, पर लेकिन इससे एक ये भी सपोर्ट मिलती है, कई बार हम लोगों को चाहिए होती है वो सपोर्ट की, यार कि हम भगवान की पूजा कर रहे हैं तो हमें जो बुरा समय चल रहा है वो बुरा वक्त कट जाए। So I think that gives us a lot of support during that period of time. But for me, the God is somebody, or whether it's a he or she or animal or whatever, or no body or no physique. But the beautiful concept is कि वो God जो है वो किसी चीज पे गुस्सा नहीं होता, किसी चीज पे खुश नहीं होता. That God is running the nature, and perhaps nature itself is the God, which as per our Jainism principle is the case. तो वो नेचर किसी चीज से खुश नहीं होती, किसी चीज से नाराज नहीं होती, वो नेचर अपना काम कर रही है. So this is the concept that I just wanted to share, because I felt that this is a beautiful concept and I should share the definition of God as to what I feel about God. And with this, I would like to end my presentation. जय जिनेंद्र. I hope कि मेरे जो एक्सपीरियंस है उससे कुछ हेल्प शायद कुछ लोगों को मिले, और उस शुभकामनाओं के साथ आप सब लोगों को बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं. Thank you very much. Jai Jinendra.
Wow, that was absolutely amazing. You really took us right from your childhood and your birth all the way up to where you are, and beyond. I mean, really beyond, beyond 50 and, even further. I mean, an amazing, amazing journey. And thank you so much. There are so many comments in the chat box. I can't tell you, Rajesh ji. People have been so appreciative. There's been so insightful.
Thank you very much. मेरे ख्याल से मैंने समय कुछ ज्यादा ले लिया, जो मैं अभी देख रहा हूँ घड़ी के ऊपर, तो 12
कोई बात नहीं. तो अभी अपन डिसाइड कर लेते हैं ना. तो अभी typically we formally end the session around 12:30. However, I'd like to ask you, would you be able to stay a few minutes extra to have a little short Q&A? Would it be okay if we go up to 12:45 with you today?
Yeah, that should be fine. It will be a pleasure to answer queries to the extent I can answer with the help of my experiences and my life.
I'm sure people are really looking forward to that. And I'll take you to the very first question, starting from a very young person who's just getting into life, and his name is Sambhav. Okay, he's just finished his 12th, and he said, please ask Rajesh ji this question on my behalf. And it is, what is the aim of life? Very profound, very deep question, I thought. But he's starting, he says, I'm finishing my 12th and stepping into life.
Great question, Sambhav. I think, as I told during my presentation also, that defining life in such simple words perhaps is not possible even for the mighty saints. So I can only tell you with my experience and what I aim for in life is, and as I think it also aligns to our Jain principles. And I keep talking about Jain principles because I'm so impressed. I'm not such a religious person, honestly speaking, but at the same time, I do get inspired a lot from some of the Jain principles which have been taught by my parents and my other society. So Jain principles के हिसाब से भी life का मतलब या aim जो ढूंढना है वो शायद एक तो इतना easy नहीं है, उसके लिए बहुत तपस्या करनी पड़ती है. Second is what I feel, that doing your karma the right way, what you feel is the right and the proper way of doing your karma, that is the aim of life. Life keeps on unfolding itself. कहते हैं कि जहां तक दिखाई देता है वहां तक जाओ, वहां पहुंचने पर आगे भी दिखाई देगा. ऐसा नहीं है कि हम लोग अगर अपनी आंखों से लेट्स से 500 मीटर देख सकते हैं तो उसके बियॉन्ड कुछ नहीं है. अब जब हम 500 मीटर तक चल के जाएंगे तो उसके आगे 500 मीटर दिखाई देंगे. तो इसीलिए अगर अपना कर्मा हम लोग सच्ची ईमानदारी से वी कीप डूइंग इट, then that actually becomes the aim of your life. That's actually at least the aim of my life, that do your karma in the right manner. And the right, there is no definition of right and wrong, but what you feel is the right. जो दूसरे लोगों को दुख ना पहुंचाए, ऐसी चीजें अगर कर्मा के साथ करते रहो अपने, तो वहां पहुंचने पर आगे भी दिखाई देगा. And that's the aim of at least my life. And I would recommend that please, if you think that this is the right way of leading life, then please aim for that.
Yeah, so I think if I would also connect it up to aapne bola jo Tirthankar. So they've lived a life in a certain way, and they say, okay, yeah, this is what got us where we wanted to be. And I think each one of us has to find our own ways of leading our life, but with the values and principles.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah. So thank you so much for that wonderful answer. And I'm sure Sambha would have got some ideas. Related to this, there's another one. And now let's, like abhi theek hai, school se nikal gaye, abhi corporate environment mein aa gaye ya kaam karna shuru kara. And Sagar Jain says, youth is so full of energy, and you've said it too, right? And he says, we want to do so many things. How do we decide which one is right? And or do we go either all over, or, how do you get that focus and direction? And similarly, I would also like to ask you, you said, you mentioned that a mentor said, ke CA karo. Now, was CA something that they thought was good for you, or did it come from your heart also? कैसे decide करते ये सब चीजें?
Wonderful question, Sushma ji. In fact, as I said, कि उस समय जिस समय when I just graduated from my college, at that time there were no information available, and whatever little guidance that you get and you try to follow that, and you actually hit the nail. When my guiding mentor at that time, only for 15 minutes, when he guided me to do CA, honestly speaking, I did not know a thing about CA. I completed my CA, and there also I faced serious failure initially. मैंने जब पहली बार CA का एग्जाम दिया, I failed miserably. But second time जब मैंने CA के लिए appear हुआ, तो I kept on clearing all my exams in one go. In fact, I felt that I had so much of time that I joined company secretaryship also. Then I joined MCOM also. I started doing a certificate in Italian language also. I joined CWA also. However, as you rightly said, it is not that I was very happy. I was doing it because it was considered successful career. There was a surety that if you complete your chartered accountancy and these kind of professional courses, there is a certainty throughout your life that you will have a decent standard of living. You may not become very rich, or you may not go very high, but at the same time, there is also a certainty that you will not fall below a certain threshold. So I continued to work. I tried to go through that period also. And the reason I could not give my 100% at that time, which I mentioned during my presentation, because it was not coming from inside. लेकिन जैसे ही मैंने रिटेल के अंदर जब मैं आया, I realized that this is my passion. This is where I really want to spend my rest of the working life. And I started enjoying. And after that, the growth that I got within 4 years of joining industry, I became CEO because of that passion. So Sagar, my strong recommendation, try to find, first of all, at this age where you are at the moment, you may not be very clear, but try to look for alternatives. Try to zero down on one or two alternatives, not necessarily because they are good career growth providers, but because what is your passion? In today's life, there were times when if you're not a professional, if you've not done certain type of education, or if you don't belong to a business class family, you would not dare choose those careers which were not considered the right career path at that time. You have to be, if you want to become a professional, you do one of those professional courses or you join a family business. But today, there are so much of opportunities that you can actually look for what is it that makes you happy? What is your passion? Even if that is not the normal way of how the career progresses for most people. Let's say आपको फिल्म मेकिंग में मजे आते हैं, या आपको फोटोग्राफी में मजे आते हैं, प्लीज फॉलो दैट पाथ. डोंट गेट इनटू द रट ऑफ ज्वाइनिंग समथिंग जो सिर्फ करियर के लिए एस्टेब्लिश्ड माना जाता है. Because as I said, when I joined retail, I realized that I love this. I love this passion. I love this profession. I love meeting people. I love talking to them. I love premium fashion. Honestly speaking, since the day I joined as CEO, I did not have to work even for one day. Because every day I love it so much, I never considered it as my work. तो सागर, माय स्ट्रॉन्ग रिकमेंडेशन, सबसे पहले सब ऑल्टरनेटिव सामने रखो, उसके बाद उसे एलिमिनेट करना शुरू करो कि कौन सी चीज तुम्हें पसंद नहीं है. यू विल जीरो डाउन ऑन वन पर्टिकुलर थिंग विच यू लाइक. फॉरगेट अबाउट द वर्ल्ड फॉर द टाइम बिंग. सबसे पहले देखो क्या आपको क्या चीज में पसंद आता है, व्हाट यू लाइक, एंड देन गो फॉर इट. फाइंड आउट मोर अबाउट इट. देयर इज सो मच ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन अवेलेबल फॉर एवरीथिंग नाउ विद द हेल्प ऑफ इंटरनेट. गो फॉर दैट पर्टिकुलर वन थिंग दैट really ignites passion in you.
Thank you so much. And I think here is where maybe even a mentor could be there to help guide, question you. It may play a major role, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Out here in these sessions, we have limited time. But if you can go in for a mentorship program, talk to some mentors, talk to some people, and you'll get more ideas. So this was a similar question from Akshay, I think I'm not mistaken. But yeah, so approximately what age did you get this thing where you went into retail?
So I became CEO at the age of 43, and about 4 years before that, so around 39 years of age is when I got into retail.
So your passion you really found at 39. So you know,
yes. So there is no age. There is no age of finding your passion.
True. So Rajesh ji, what I'm going to just do in just a quick word with Sanyong ji. We typically do the formal closing, and then we will continue with the Q&A because there are just so many coming up in the chat box. I hope that's okay with you.
Yes, please kindly do that.
So just Sayogi, would you like to just do a formal closure, because some people have already started leaving, and I'm sure the ones who want to continue, we can continue a little later after that. Over to you, Sayogi.
Yes, thank you Rajesh ji, thank you Sushma ji. It was such a pleasure to listen to you. You know, when we put together these programs, the program is just the tip of the iceberg. There is a lot which goes below the water level. And it was a delight to work with Rajesh ji. He was always so cooperative, finding time. And Sushma ji, I remember when she said, I have a session, and he said, okay, no problem. I will, what we call, adjust when we can get together. Now, so I'm so appreciative in what the comments that you must have also seen is that straight from the heart. And I don't think there is, I don't want to summarize it. I don't want to restate it. It says everything straight from the heart. Also want to thank all the participants who have joined us on a Sunday. Sunday is a time when it is a family time. And when you carve this time out for attend a program like that, I want to tell you, thank you so much. We want to really make these programs as very special Sunday for professional and personal development for the Jain community. That is what we want to do. So we will formally close the program, but we will continue with the Q&A for another 15 minutes or so with permission from Rajesh ji. So with that, over to you, Sushma.
Thank you, Sayoji. And Rajesh ji, I mean, now we from that youth part where, you know, you're trying to find something. There are some people who go into, you know, entrepreneur, and they say startup founders, and this is from Harsh, start lonely journeys under the scrutiny of multiple stakeholders. What has been your experience, and how did you overcome this and balance mental health and balance? I'm not sure what the rest of the question is. It's, I think, typo ho gaya wahan par. But yeah, basically, I think you got the idea. How did you balance all this? And, you know, when you're going with entrepreneurship, startups?
Sorry, I could not understand the question clearly, Sushma ji.
Okay, let me see. Harsh, are you there? Would you like to just unmute yourself and ask the question yourself?
Yeah, thank you. Am I audible?
Yes, please. Yes. Thank you.
So normally when you're a startup, it's your idea, your baby, and a lot of people still do not believe in you. So you chart your journey, and there is a lot of pressure. Of course, family pressure is also there because you want to succeed, but there is pressure from your colleagues, pressure from finance side, pressure from stakeholders who might be interested in or have put in some amount of money. So, and that affects your mental health, your balance. So what has been your experience? And when you went on this journey, how did you balance out? Keeping Jainism is a good thing, but not all people understand that part. So how did you balance it out, and how did you maintain going consistently going forward?
Okay, thank you, Harsh. See, first of all, let me assure you, whether startup or any other journey, problems are bound to come. Nobody can stay away from the problems. When you are doing your startup, there are some added problems also, which you've just explained, that there is a family pressure, there are funds problem, because if you go and join a job, then obviously there is at least a consistent flow of money that is coming in. But when you're into a startup, you're pressurized from the fund inflow side also, and secondly, your mental health also goes for a toss at times, because there are so many things that you have to manage. What I feel is that first of all, when you're starting a startup, there should be some basic principles that one needs to ensure. In case of a startup, your idea should be either it should be something new, or it could be something which is existing, but there is some newness into this that can attract people. Second, and the most important thing that I have personally seen in a lot of startups is, there's a beautiful idea. However, when you come to implement that, unfortunately, several startups do not have any revenue model. Unless and until you can have a clear revenue model, that revenue doesn't have to come immediately. It can come later. It can come 2 years down the line, 3 years down the line, but there should be a clear way forward on how the revenues would start coming into that startup once that idea gets implemented. With that idea, because of the availability of information and mentorship program that Sushma ji has explained, and there are other platforms also where some mentorships are available for startups also. If you take the help and are able to generate some seed capital into your business, then the life will relatively become easier. However, I'm not saying that it becomes very hunky-dory after that, because once anybody invests into that business, that person or that organization expects you to deliver very fast. But at the same time, you get a new flip, a new push towards your goals. So my strong recommendation is that whatever idea you have, first of all, you must have an implementable plan, and that implementable plan must also have a revenue model. If you just have an idea that that wouldn't generate revenue ever, then your startup is not good for the business. It could be good for your thought process. You might feel good about it. You might feel passionate about it. But if you want to convert that into a business proposal, it has to have a revenue model also. And then once you have this, then you should reach out to those people who can invest seed capital into your venture. And then implement that plan with lightning speed. Don't keep on just thinking about it. Try to implement that as soon as possible once you get your seed capital. Of course, when you go for your next rounds of funding, you have to have a proof of concept also. Without that, nobody would like to invest further or give you growth capital. But at the same time, once you have a startup, you need to have a revenue model and implementable plan is what my strong recommendation would be.
I hope that answers your question, Harsh. Thank you so much for that question.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you.
And I'm sure there are lots of questions, and we can go through a chat box also and continue this maybe later in some form or the other. Rajesh ji is a mentor at JPF, so please do reach out. Maybe we'll request you to maybe do a group mentoring session where we have a more focused topic. I think there's so note, Sayog, because we've taken up so much time of Rajesh. We know he has other commitments, and so do all of us. So shall we formally close this program now, Rajesh ji?
Thank you very much. And actually, it's an honor. I'm so glad that I could share my life experiences, and I hope that some of them might help some other, especially the people who are just beginning at the beginning of their career, etc. Because as I said, life is too short to learn everything from your own mistakes. We have done so many mistakes in our life, and I'm not talking about myself, and I'm talking about all the mentors that are there on the mentorship program. I think that should really help a lot of other people, and I do hope that this session would have helped some of them. But I am so grateful that I could share my thoughts on this beautiful platform. Thank you very much, Sanyog ji. Thank you very much, Sushma ji. Thanks to JITO, and thanks to JITO Professional Mentorship Program.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Rajesh ji. So much. Thank you so much. And we'll keep in touch. Thank you.
Sure.
Thanks, Ayog.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, everyone. See you next
Bye.
month.
Bye.
Whenever
Thank
we
you.
have the session, please do attend and spread the word. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sayog, I'm ending the meeting. I'm just stopping the recording.